If you've never seen a container ship up close and personal, it's hard to understand why the maiden call of one of the world's largest container ships to Long Beach is something to celebrate. But for those in the shipping industry, this is an extraordinary event, as it marks the first time this ship carrying 8,000 20-foot equivalent containers has ever docked in Long Beach.
When I came on, they started at about 5,000. That was a big deal in those days. Then they grew to 5,500, 6,000. And they've just done a quantum leap to 8,000 TEUs. Big, large ships. What it really means is greater efficiency from a time processing point of view, less pollution, if you will, or less environmental impact because of the size, one, and number two, because of it is new equipment. So it's more economically efficient, it moves goods more expeditiously, and it does it with less impact upon the environment.
The Boston Hanjin arrived in Long Beach on July 26th. Built by Hyundai Heavy Industries, the ship is longer than 3 football fields, measuring almost 1,000 feet in length, and is 30 feet wider than the Panama Canal, allowing 17 containers to be placed side by side. This mega ship is capable of carrying up to 77,000 tons of cargo in 8,000 20-foot equivalent containers. This vessel can carry more of the products demanded by us, the consumers, but that per cargo container, its air emission and fuel consumption are about 20% less than the previous generation of vessels.
The vessel, while it's sailing, burns about 250 tons of fuel per day. And then while it's in port, it's running at about 10 tons of fuel a day. And what it translates to is per container, there are less emissions, less fuel consumption than the vessels it's replacing.
Watching the containers being unloaded so efficiently and quickly by the dock workers, it's hard to imagine that before 1956 and the invention of containerized shipping, all this work had to be done manually. This means all of the cargo would have to be loaded on a truck piece by piece, then driven to the port where every crate on every truck had to be unloaded by the stevedores working the docks. Then each crate had to be put in a sling and hoisted up and then down into the hold of the ship. There, more stevedores took it off the sling and made sure it was properly stowed. This same break bulk shipping method, as it was called, was used to unload and reload cargo at every port of call. The process was slow, labor-intensive, and there were lots of accidents. But then, a trucker from North Carolina, Malcolm McLean, came up with a new solution, the cargo container. So now, goods are packed inside a standard-size container, which can ride on the back of a truck or a train. And when it's going to be shipped over the ocean, the entire container is loaded at once. Malcolm McLean's first container ship, the Ideal X, handled 58 containers and sailed from Port Newark, New Jersey to Houston, Texas on April 26, 1956. 10 years later, in 1966, Malcolm McLean once again tried something that had never been done before when his container ship, the SS Fairland, sailed from New Jersey to Europe. The voyage shocked the shipping industry as the cargo arrived at its destination 4 weeks faster than it used to before. From that day on, the container revolution had begun. Today, with the Hanjin Boston unloading and reloading in just 4 days, the turnaround time for goods being shipped is greatly increased.
With these 8,000 TEU class vessels, they're normally unloading and reloading in 4 to 5 days. And normally they're working 2 shifts a day and sometimes 3 shifts a day. They can go around the clock with 3 labor shifts.
And while all this may sound interesting, you may be wondering why you should care. Well, take a look around wherever you happen to be. Just about everything you see or set your hand on spent time on a container. In fact, 60% of world trade measured by value travels in cargo containers. And with traffic estimated to grow at an average rate of 8 to 10% per year at the Port of Long Beach over the next 15 years, it's critical that carriers look at bigger ships to not only improve their economies of scale, but to do so in an environmentally responsible manner. With megaships like the Hanjin Boston, both these benefits are accomplished.
The Commission has established a green port policy, and it's looking at using the best technologies available to reduce the pollution and working with the terminal operators and the vessel operators to implement these kind of technologies wherever possible.
8,000 is certainly the standard today. We're getting a lot of them in here. We've got facilities that will handle them in 2 or 3 different terminals, which gives us a great ability to, 1, grow to meet the consumer demand, and number 2, do it more efficiently and again with less environmental impact.
The Hanjin Boston is among a new generation of 8,000 20-foot container vessels that have begun to call at the Port of Long Beach, one of the few U.S. ports with the deep channels and large shipping terminals capable of handling these giant vessels fully loaded. For more information, contact the Port of Long Beach at www.polb.com.